The FDA is reversing course on Moderna's new flu shot. It now says it will review an amended application. Remember earlier this month, the FDA refused to accept it, citing concerns about how the vaccine was tested. Here to discuss this medical update with us is our 9 News medical expert, Dr. Payal Kohli. Thank you so much. While you were here, I feel like mRNA, we really got that beat into us during the pandemic, but just refresh everybody's memory of how that's different than your normal shot.
Yeah, so it's a messenger RNA. So instead of giving you the actual virus or giving you parts of the virus, like the protein parts, it gives you the instruction manual for that part of the virus. And the advantage of this here is that your cells are then making that protein of the virus. They take up the instruction manual, they read it, and they start to make the protein. So it induces a stronger immune response. It's also really, really easy to switch out. So you're talking days that you can change an mRNA vaccine as opposed to weeks, months, or years to engineer and make a protein or make an inactivated virus. So it's much more inexpensive. It's much easier to use. And when it comes to something like the flu that's rapidly changing, you want a vaccine that you can rapidly adapt because the flu strain is always looking different.
Absolutely. And so, why did the FDA initially refuse to review Moderna's mRNA flu vaccine? And why was the medical community just so concerned about this?
It's never really happened before, to be honest. I mean, it's the first time the FDA said we refuse to review it. Now, what the FDA cited as the reason for refusal was that Moderna used the wrong comparator. So when you think about it, when you're testing a new product, you want to test it against the best thing that you have out there. And so Moderna had patients in their trial, that were younger than 65 and those older than 65. And when it comes to those older than 65, they should have really compared it to the high dose flu vaccine because that's considered the gold standard in those patients. And they used a standard dose. So the FDA said, nothing doing. We're not going to look at this because you're comparing it to what's not the gold standard in over 65, which is the regular dose. So it has us concerned just because, it's going to create vaccine hesitancy. It's going to have people wondering if it's the mRNA that's the reason the FDA is refusing to look at it. And it really does make you question whether this is kind of feeding that whole anti-vaxxer culture that's really rising in the US.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I thought it was the mRNA of it all. So I'm learning right now in this very moment. Tell me why the change now? Why are they looking at this? And from the medical community, is this a good thing?
Well, I'm so delighted that they did a U-turn on this because I think they have to. They have to give vaccines fair review process. And then if they say, no, we need a better comparator, that's fine. But to refuse to even look at it is what really bothered me. So the reason they decided to change, they met with Moderna, and Moderna said, okay, we'll amend the application. So we're looking for full approval for 50 to 64 years of age. Above 65, could you do us a favor, give us this expedited approval? And we promise that we'll do post-marketing surveillance to make sure that it still works. And so when it comes to expedited approval, you can look at surrogate endpoints. You don't have to have hard endpoints. So it's unclear whether the FDA will approve for both groups or just one group or, what the future of this is going to be.
I mean, we've heard infectious disease specialists, you've just demystified it as well. It's that messenger RNA vaccine. Why do you think that mRNA vaccines generate so much controversy in the first place?
I think it's the pandemic juju that is just stuck, So when it came out during the pandemic, everyone thought it was a new technology, but it was not unstudied. It had been around for decades. But because it got approved so quickly, there was this concern that it alters your DNA, which of course is misinformation. That's not true. And then we saw those rare side effects of myocarditis, pericarditis, that we have now really put such a black cloud over the messenger RNA vaccines, which, by the way, are one of the most brilliant technologies in medicine. And we're talking not just for infectious disease, we're talking about cancer, we're talking about HIV. You can use the same platform to fight all these diseases. So I really hope that this starts to go away, and I hope people realize just what an impact these types of vaccines can make on healthcare. I don't want people to be afraid of taking messenger RNA vaccines because the trials have really shown that they prove very effective. Now, to the FDA's credit, they have approved other messenger RNA vaccines under the Trump administration, and that includes the RSV vaccine. That also includes Moderna's updated COVID vaccine last year. So I don't think this is all just about the mRNA, but we have seen a funding cut of $500 million in mRNA vaccines in the last year. So I'm worried that this is headed in the wrong direction, but I'm hopeful that they will give this the due diligence that it deserves. And if it comes through, it could hit our shelves on August 6th. Because they're meeting August 5th, which means for this upcoming flu season, we could potentially have this vaccine.
Yep. Good. That's right around the corner, August. So thank you for giving us a little insight, because I think you definitely reminded us a lot about the mRNA vaccines and how they work, and that's important stuff. Dr. Kohli, thank you.